Welcome to Intuitive Connection, where spirituality and psychology meet to help you be your best and brightest self. I'm your host, Victoria Shaw, and in each episode, I'll help you to awaken your own inner wisdom, step into your power, and live a more divinely inspired life. You're here to let your inner light shine. Are you ready? Let's do this. All right. So hello and welcome to Intuitive Connection. I'm your host, Victoria Shaw. And today we're going to talk about a topic that I'm really excited about and something that I've been talking about in a lot of these episodes that I've been recording as of late. Some of you may or may not know this, but when I record these episodes, I usually get, a wave of inspiration and I do a lot at once. And that seems to be what's happening right now. And a lot of the ones right now are really along this theme of magic. And the magic in ourselves and in our lives and opening up more and more to how magical your life can be. And the magic that wants to express itself for you and through you. It's a real thing. And, more and more as I tune into that and allow in that magic of life surprises me again and again in magical ways. So this morning, and you may hear this story again when we get her on the show, but this morning I was on my computer and the Facebook tab was open. And all of a sudden I look down and there's like a message from someone who was a guest on this podcast. I'll just say it, Laura Powers. And it was a conversation that we started to have in February. And, I use Messenger sometimes to connect to other people. I was just connecting to someone whose podcast I was supposed to be on. And so I use it interchangeably sometimes with email. Maybe some of you do as well, if that connection gets made on Facebook first. But anyway, there was no reason on earth for this chat to be opened. I don't know where it came from. It was from February and her name is nothing like the name of anyone who, I was clicking on. So it really was magic. It really was the angels. And when I saw it sitting there, I couldn't just let it lie. So I reached out to her and it turns out she's coming to San Diego, in a couple weeks. And, we're going to connect. So I just wanted to share because these moments, these things happen all the time. They happen all the time for me now. And they're all miracles. They're magic. And I think that the trick to experiencing more of these magical moments is simply to set that intention to let them in, setting the intention to experience the magic of life. So that is what our topic is for today and how we can agree, right, to agree with our own inner magic. Okay, agree to agree is it's maybe not a thing, but anyway, hopefully you get the point. And before I launch in, I also want to apologize. You can probably hear my voice is a little bit scratchy. I woke up with a bit of a frog in my throat, but I was so excited to share this information that wants to come through that we're going to let the voice do her thing. And now I'm going to get out of the way and see what the guides want to share. Their energy feels so good. And what the guides say is magic abounds. It's all around you. But oftentimes when we're here in human form, we just trust it. Right? We don't believe it. We have been taught to disregard our own magical nature, right? We have been taught our magic isn't safe. We've been taught our magic isn't real, right? We have been taught to disregard all the magic of life and focus instead with the intellect, with the fear, with the scarcity, with what we've been taught, with limitations, right? And so for most people, life becomes surpassing limitations, right? We focus on the limitation. We put all our energy there. We work towards working through the limitation. And guess what happens? If we get through one hurdle, the next one invariably appears because we are operating in a system that tells us that life is a series of problems to be solved, right? Or hurdles to be surpassed. And while this way of thinking, my friends, has likely served you up until now, it's also done you a great disservice. It's also done you a great disservice because you at your core are magical, right? And life is magical. And so when we focus on solving a problem, we, to some extent, will disengage, or the guides say override, that natural magic in life. And that's really sad because when we let the magic flow, amazing things happen, right? Part of the deal is agreeing that life can be magical, right? And you may not feel the magic everywhere now, and that's okay. But just setting that intention and saying, wow, I'd love to experience more synchronicities. I'd love to feel the magic and joy in my everyday experience. I'd love to let go of some of that agony and strugglingness and suffering and start to feel like real joy, inspiration, and purpose, in my everyday being. That's the first step. And the guides are clear too. We want to focus on what we want to experience, right? Rather than what we don't. So what you want to let go of is fine to be aware of what doesn't resonate, but then we focus our attention back towards what we want to experience more of, because the spotlight of your intention and the spotlight of your attention, right? Intention and attention, that spotlight, that's your conscious awareness and the highest sense. That is what is creating your life. That is what is steering the ship. And so that is where you are directing yourself and your energy to become, to be, to experience. Does that make sense? So the first step is that intention. I want to feel my magic. I want to be magical. I want to awaken the magic that I know is within me right here and right now. That's number one. And then the second step, and this one can be a little bit tricky, but the guides are saying go ahead, is we all have conditioning that tells us, I won't say everyone, but most of us have conditioning that has taught us to distrust our magic. And so some of it is working through that. But we want to be very specific about how we work through that. And the guides are quite clear on this. And they've been giving me this message for a while now. And it's really revolutionized the way that I work and my whole understanding of even what it means to heal and be a healer, if that's a thing. Because again, often in healing, we focus on the problem. And the guides say here, you want to always make sure that you're bringing your energy and attention back towards aligning with the solution, right? It's a very different thing. But sometimes in the process of aligning with the solution, life will show us where we are not aligned, right? It'll show us where we're still not feeling so magical. And in those moments, we notice them, we recognize them, we love them, and we love ourselves through them. That's all you got to do. There are times too when something will emerge and, come to your attention, like the time when you were 3, when, you were just playing in the garden, having a great time, and someone said, that little thing that's on your finger that you're enjoying is a bee and it's going to sting you and it's going to hurt you, and they freaked you out, right? And you lost that connection to the magic, and you learned to distrust your amazing experience that you're having communing with nature. I don't know if that happened for someone, but that's the example the guides gave, right? I'm going to take a breath because tuning into that energy threw my energy off. But a lot of times in psychotherapy and a lot of healing modalities, we're actually taught to kind of go searching for those things and analyze those things and find every last one of those things. And again, when we take that kind of mindset, we've gone back to the hurdle jumping. We've gone back to the problem solving. We've gone back to this idea that you are a problem waiting to be fixed. And when you have that way of dealing with things, my friends, you will always find another problem, right? You'll always find another problem because you just told yourself, I'm a problem to be fixed. And, I'm going to keep finding more things to fix because that's where my energy is flowing. So sometimes these things will emerge gently for our purview, and then we love them and we notice them and we recognize them. We love ourselves through them. If it's an inner child thing, we welcome the inner child back to the fold. We tell her it's okay. We tell her, that was a tricky moment, and but we're going to bring you back to that magic now, and I love you, right? We don't judge, the guides say. So to say it was a tricky moment, again, we do that with compassion, not with storytelling, not like, oh, that was so terrible that happened, because that's a story and you can hear, or maybe you can't hear, but I can feel my energy tank when I say that. So I'm going to take a pause and get her back. And so we always do this work with a forward focus, but we can become aware of some of this conditioning, right? We can become aware of what we're attracting into our lives that doesn't feel so aligned. We can become aware of our behaviors that are not aligned with where we want to flow. And then we again set that gentle intention to transform those things. It's about setting that intention and then following through, right? If you notice that you're perseverating, you give yourself a hug and you say, oh yeah, I'm going back to thinking about that again, and it doesn't feel so good. Let me give myself a lot of love. Let me love myself through this. Let me love the part of myself that doesn't want to let this go right now, wherever you're at. And then as you can and as you're ready, right, you gently shift your energy back towards that which feels more fulfilling, more aligned. And for some of you, that'll be really easy. For some of you, you don't even know what I mean yet, but stay tuned. I'm sure the guides will help us with that. And then it varies from time to time. There are some moments when my energy feels really like sunk and, I get a little spinny in it, and that's okay because I know it's just temporary. It's just for a moment. And that the more I resist whatever I'm feeling in the moment, the deeper I dig myself into the mud, right? So I let it be there as much as I can. And I love the part of me that's resisting. And I know, very most importantly, I'll get back to where I want to be real soon. And so I invite you to try that as well. The third stage to reawakening the magic is to start looking for it, right? Start looking for it because it's happening all the time. And it might be as amazing as some random person popping up on your computer screen saying, hello, this person needs attention. Or I did an episode yesterday about an animal visitor, and I get a lot of those too. And sometimes they're miraculous. Or I went through a period this winter where I was a little bit struggly. And every morning I would wake up and I would pull a card from the amazing Tosha Silver's, I think it was her Wild Offering deck. And every day the card that would spontaneously appear was uncannily exactly what I needed to hear for the day. And, you could say self-fulfilling prophecy, but it wasn't. It was amazing. And sometimes the app would just open itself and give me a card. True story. And so again, the miracles are everywhere. We just have to pay attention. Remember too that sometimes the miracles are totally fantastical and sometimes they're really, really subtle and small. And so it's important that we, welcome them however they are and start to tune in. Sometimes the miracle is the penny on the ground, right? Sometimes the miracle is the person that buys your coffee in line at Starbucks. Sometimes the miracle is just, maybe you were stressing about a presentation and how it was going to go and how your boss was going to perceive it. And then you gave it and your boss, wasn't there to do their usual negative ninny nonsense. And you just got to relax through the darn thing, right? That one feels good. Whatever it is, notice. And remember too, your mind may try to talk you out of noticing, right? Your mind might say oh, that wasn't a real miracle because blah, 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 blah. Let things be a miracle. Let things make you feel good. Let yourself feel into the magic of life. Now, I hear some of you asking, and this is such a good question, what is the difference between magic and magical thinking, right? Because we've been taught magical thinking is not so grand. I like to think of magical thinking as where we try to override life. That our ego will have an idea of how something is supposed to be, and it will interpret everything to make it how we want it. It'll make it how we want it. It will force and struggle to make everything aligned. And that can feel good for a short amount of time. It can feel almost manic. And there's almost nothing wrong with it, the guides say, except that, if you're pushing too hard, then you're missing the miracles. Then you're missing the true miracles. You're missing what's really happening all the time. So it's really about softening the mind and letting the miracles come to you. And if you're not sure if it's magical thinking or magic, just wait. Life will show you. Life will show you every time. And if you're really not sure, just take a couple seconds to slow down, feel into your energy, and notice how she feels. If she feels really revved up and pushy, if she feels really, really attached to this having to be true, then, you might be getting into the range of magical thinking. Or you might just need to give yourself a big old hug, right? So that you can feel the miracles that are coming through even more truly, sincerely, and deeply. But if you feel calm and good and clear and jazzed, from the tip of your toes to the crown of your head, my guess it's the real deal, right? True magic, true inspiration feels grounded to me. It feels embodied. When I'm in my head excitement, it feels all jazzed up, but it's not this full body feeling. So that's one difference for me. But the guides say, and I want to tune in so I get this very clearly, you don't really have to worry about that so much at all, because the more you agree to experience the magic and joy in life, the more it will appear, and more you'll see that it's happening normally and naturally for you. Now, if you're trying to prove you're magical, if you're trying to show someone else the miracles that are happening again, you might get a little more into ego. But when you're allowing this to authentically unfold for you, and most of you actually know what that means. So, I know I'm preaching to the choir here, which is such an honor. You know, and trust it. Trust that knowing. It's deep inside of you, and you deserve it. You deserve it. And that's the last step. And I don't do numbers when I'm in my intuitive brain, but I think we're on 4. Let's hope. The 4th step, and there may be more too, but the 4th one is the one that we're on now. Maybe the last, may not be. It's around letting yourself know that you're deserving, my friend. You are fully deserving for the magic of life. You are the magic in life. That is you. That is the full force of who you are, wanting to express itself through you and through your daily experience every moment of every day, right? That's actually what you came here to do. And yes, there are times when your magic doesn't feel so magical because the world is a little bit funky and, it moves through some distortion and comes back to you looking not how it started out. That's okay. That's okay. You're exactly where you are, and where you are is the only place that you can be. And it's okay. But your magic remains intact. Your magic remains true. Your magic remains real. And the more you know that you are magical and that you deserve the full force of the beauty, and I know I'm using that word a lot, magic that life has to offer you, joy, grace, alignment, miracles, all those magical things. The more you can feel into that and allow that and know there's nothing you have to do. There's nothing you have to change. There's no one else you have to be. It is your birthright. It is here for you now. In this moment, just let it in. The more and easier it will be for you to receive. And sometimes there's a time lag because we live in this human world and there is time. Sometimes there's not. And if you're experiencing a time lag right now, then you just have to remind yourself it's a coming. It's a coming. It's right here, right now. It's here for me. And I am just opening myself up to receive, right? Because again, otherwise we always think it's right out there on the horizon, something we're going to get when we do X, Y, and Z. And it's always here. It's always now. It's always developing. It's always coming true. Mm-hmm. Your dreams are always in the process of coming true right here, right now. And it's just about you more and more aligning and getting to the place where you can receive them. That's the true thing. So as I kind of wrap up and we think about the magic of life, I want to share from the guide some of the ways in which our own magic expresses itself to us. Because I gave an example in the beginning, but I'm sure they have some other great options. Look for synchronicities in your life, things that align. Look for shocking magical experiences like, a penny in the road, right? When you are thinking, I'm not abundant. Or someone, who randomly calls you when you're thinking about them. Regardless of how these magical things come to you, they're there all the time. So tune in. And it might be different for you. It might be a sign. It might be someone saying a kind word or giving you a compliment that just makes, everything tingle inside of you. It might be you hearing a little message of guidance right when you need to hear it. It might be that beautiful bird chirping outside of your window or that magnificent sunset. It might be for you, like it is for me, that magical feeling of my feet as they slosh through the surf. I love that so much, right? But be on the lookout for those miracles and those magical moments. Take them in and embrace the fact that you are both the creator and the connoisseur of the beautiful co-creation that you have with this amazing, miraculous, beautiful, joyful, and magical life. And then you too will awaken the magic within you. And it's there right now. And remember too, when connecting with our inspiration, our magic, your intuition is one of the best tools that you have for discernment, for tuning in. And that, remember too, intuition and creation are really flip sides of the same coin. As we intuit, as we feel into, as we learn what resonates, what feels right, as we learn to listen to the call of our soul, it will guide us more and more towards more magical experiences and also align us with that great force of creation that wants to work through us. So I think the last thing that I want to say about awakening to our magic is, remember, many of us have some conditioning, like I said before, that sometimes gets in the way of our experiencing, allowing, and feeling that we deserve our own magic. So I just want everyone to take a moment now to know, to remember, right? right? That you are lovable, that you are beautiful, that you are deserving, and that you are magical. And nothing in this human world can ever truly keep you from the magic and beauty of your own soul. So remember that, right? It's amazing. All right, that now is all I have to share with you today. If you enjoy this podcast, if you find it inspiring, please leave us a 5-star recommendation on iTunes or like and subscribe on whatever podcast platform you listen to. It really helps get the word out, and it helps to, get more people to connect with their magic, right? Which is what I love to do. If you are looking for ways to awaken your magic and ready to take a deeper dive into this topic about how we can connect with our own beautiful divine being through awakening our intuition and exploring our potential as powerful manifestors, living more in our purpose, and so much more, please check out my upcoming class, Awaken the Magic in You, which will be a 6-week online class starting on January 25th, 2003. You can find the links to that class in the show notes. You can find it on my website, victoriashawintuitive.com. And of course, you will find it all over the socials as well. So if you are ready to take a deep dive into awakening your own beautiful magic, my friends, please join us. There'll be lots and lots of teaching, lots of instruction, exercises, homework, a great sense of community, and of course, a little bit more interactive time with yours truly and the guides. So if this speaks to you, please check it out. And either way, thank you so much for tuning in, and namaste. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope that you found joy, strength, inspiration, and clarity from today's episode. If you'd like to learn more and connect with an amazing group of like-minded souls, please join us over on Facebook in the Intuitive Connection Community Facebook group, where we explore these topics in deeper detail, have additional live teachings, and host Facebook Lives with our amazing guests. I hope to see you there. And of course, if you want to learn more about me or the work that I do, please check out my webpage, victoriashawintuitive.com. Thank you so much again, and namaste.